ഫസ്റ്റ് M.Com സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ഒരു പ്രസൻറ്റേഷനാണ്. എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. ഒരു ചെറിയ മോഡ്യൂളാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പ്രസൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇതിൽ മിസ്റ്റേക്സ്, ക്ലാരിറ്റി കുറവോ വല്ലതും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പറയണം. അതനുസരിച്ച് അടുത്ത പ്രസൻറ്റേഷൻസ് കറക്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ സാധിക്കും. എല്ലാ ലെസൺസും ചെറിയ മോഡ്യൂളുകളായിട്ട് പ്രസൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ആണ് തീരുമാനിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഫിഫ്ത്ത് ലെസൺ ഇമ്പോർട്ട് ആൻഡ് എക്സ്പോർട്ട് പോളിസി ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യയാണ്. ഒരു ജനറൽ ടോപ്പിക്കാണത്, സിമ്പിളുമാണ്. ലെറ്റ് us see what is the need and importance of foreign trade. Actually, it is an essay question. Need and importance of foreign trade. Why we need foreign trade? Or what is the importance of foreign trade? ഈ രീതിയിലായിരിക്കും ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ വരിക. essay question വരെ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കാം. ഇതിൽ നമ്മൾ ഓരോ പോയിന്റും വളരെ എത്ര വേണമെങ്കിലും നമുക്ക് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന പോയിന്റുകളാണ്. സോ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് പോയിന്റ് ഈസ് division of labor and specialization. Since you have studied in the degree class, you may be familiar with the concept division of labor and specialization. Division of labor actually it is the separation of task where each worker perform specific duty according to his talent and skill. Specialization means concentration on particular product or task. Here you have to explain why the foreign trade leads to division of labor and specialization. We know the resource position of the countries are different, so each country can produce those goods and services in which it has special convenience or facility or skill. In example, you can say Arabian countries, they are specialized in the production of petroleum products. Japan is specialized in electronic products, like that. So through foreign trade, we can improve the division of labor and specialization. The second one is optimum allocation and utilization of resources all over the world. Optimum here means the desired level, not more than and not less than. Allocation simply here means using of resources for different purpose. That is distribution of any resource for different use. That is the meaning of allocation. Utilization here means using up of resources. So we can use the resources at the international level in a very optimum way if we engage in foreign trade. Each and every country can benefit from this. Third important point is equality of prices. This means the international trade keeps demand and supply position stable. Since supply and demand are the two important forces playing in the market, the stability of demand and supply can lead to stability of price level also. So this is an important plus point or advantage of foreign trade. Next one is multiple choices. Here multiple choices means availability of multiple choices to consumers. If the countries engage in foreign trade, all consumers of the entire world can get different types of goods and services. If there is no foreign trade, the choices will be very limited. So the customer's choice can be increased to a great extent. The next one is foreign trade can generate employment opportunities. We know when the trade is progressing, automatically production will be more. As a result, more manpower will be required for the production process, thereby improving the general employment opportunities. The next need or importance of foreign trade is it raises the standard of living of the people. How do foreign trades raise the standard of living? So you have to explain the link here. Through foreign trade, countries can improve their and also increase their production, thereby employment and thereby income level of the people. When the income increases, they can get different goods and services, types of goods and services, thereby improving the standard of living. The next advantage is it facilitates economic development. Here you have to explain the difference between economic growth and economic development. Economic growth simply means increasing the GDP, real gross domestic product of the country. But economic development means increasing production as well as improvement in the standard of living, that is qualitative changes also. So here the advocates of foreign trade, they argue that only through foreign trade we can improve the country's economic well-being, that is standard of living of the people, and there will be many institutional changes in the country only because of the trading activities. The next point is assistance during calamities. If there is any natural calamities happening in any part of the world or in any country, other countries can help through trading activities. So now all the countries are severely affected by COVID-19. So we can take the example, our country, India, is exporting hydroxychloroquine as a treatment for this COVID-19 to all countries, US, European countries, and Malaysia. So if any country is affected, this can be solved through suitable foreign trade policies. If any country is lagging behind, such countries' standard of living can be improved through foreign trade. These are the points here you have to explain. Then maintaining balance of payment position. Balance of payment position, both current account and capital account, can be maintained properly through foreign trade. If the country fails in foreign trade, the balance of payment position will not be favorable. So the country has to perform in the foreign trade. The next importance is the foreign trade brings goodwill and earns foreign exchange. We know that only those countries who are performing well in the foreign trade are getting very good image at the international level, and also they are able to earn more foreign exchange. This enabled the country for further economic development. Next is world peace, promoting world peace. Foreign trade, it improves the cooperation between countries, mutual help. So all the countries, they will never think they are separate, and instead they feel they are cooperating together As a result, there will be good relation between the countries if the foreign trade is done properly, and it can promote world peace. So please remember this 11 points. Once again, I will explain the importance and need of foreign trade. The first point is division of labor and specialization. Second one is optimum allocation and utilization of resources. Third one, equality of prices. Fourth one, foreign trade will improve multiple choices, and then it can generate employment opportunities. Sixth one, it raises standard of living of the people. Seventh one, it facilitate economic development. Eighth one, assistance during calamities. Ninth one, foreign trade can maintain balance of payment position. 10th one, it brings goodwill and earns foreign exchange. And last one, it can promote world peace. Now we can go to the topic, that is the agency responsible for development of foreign trade in India. We all know that it is the Director General of Foreign Trade which is responsible for the execution of foreign trade policy in India. So it is a short question actually. Explain the functions of Director General of Foreign Trade, or discuss the role of Director General of Foreign Trade. Like that short questions you can expect from this topic. Let us see what are the functions performed by Director General of Foreign Trade in India. The first function is DGFT is the licensing authority for exports and imports. That is, any manufacturer or producer or entrepreneur, if they want to import or export, it has to get the license from the DGFT. Second function is it is responsible for the implementation of foreign trade policy. The government is frequently making changes in the foreign trade policy, and it is the duty of the DGFT to implement the foreign trade policy taken by the or issued by the government. The third one is the DGFT can prohibit, restrict and regulate exports and imports. If any products is not required, it is harmful to the community, it can prohibit. It has the authority to prohibit such products, and it also can restrict some products and regulate also regarding imports and exports. Then that next one is issuing notification circulars. Any notification or circulars regarding foreign trade is issued by Director General of Foreign Trade. Director General of Foreign Trade can grants 10-digit importer-exporter license. The next one is DGFT introduces different schemes regarding trade benefits. It is applicable throughout the country. So what are the benefits exporter can avail? So what are the important schemes? All these schemes are introduced by DGFT. So once again, the functions of Director General of Foreign Trade is it is a licensing authority for exports and imports. It is responsible for implementation of foreign trade policy. It can prohibit, restrict and regulate exports and imports. It issue notifications, circulars, etc. It grant 10-digit importer-exporter license. Finally, it introduces different schemes regarding foreign trade benefits. Now, we can go to an essay question. Finally, the question is promotion of foreign trade in India. The promotion of foreign trade in India is carried out through two different categories. That is, the government has taken two types of policies to promote foreign trade in India. One is through measures and schemes, and the second one is through organizational setup. So let us see what are the measures and schemes. These measures and schemes also you can explain, and it also can be an essay question. And organizational setup can also come under the essay question categories, or they can combine both these schemes together and frame an essay question. So study these measures and schemes thoroughly. What are the measures and schemes introduced by the government of India to promote foreign trade? The first one is duty drawback. Merchandise that is to be exported is not subject to payment of excise or levy charges and customs duties. The meaning is very clear. If the exporter paid such charges, it will be returned to the exporter on showing the verification of export of these products to the concerned authority. Such funds are called duty drawback. If they paid, it will be refunded. So this scheme will promote foreign trade, definitely, because they need not pay any excise or any other charges. So there will be an incentive to export. Second one is export manufacturing under bond scheme. Under this, organizations can manufacture merchandise without giving excise duty and different charges. The organization can benefit this facility after giving a bond that they are producing commodities for the export goal. So the meaning is very clear. ഒരു ബോണ്ട് കൊടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, അതായത് എക്സ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാനാണ് നിങ്ങൾ ഈ റിസോഴ്സ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളൊരു ബോണ്ട് കൊടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അവർക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും എക്സൈസ് ഡ്യൂട്ടി കൊടുക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. Third one is exemption from payment of GST. Merchandise manufactured for the sole reason of exporting is exempted from payment of GST. എക്സ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി മാത്രമാണ് സാധനങ്ങൾ ഉൽപ്പാദിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ അവർക്ക് GST കൊടുക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യം വരുന്നില്ല. 100% എക്സ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാനാണ് അതിന് GST കൊടുക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. Actually, the money received from exporting or operations has been absolved from payment of income tax for a long time now. This exemption is only available to 100% export-oriented units and units set up in export processing zone. The next is advanced license scheme. In this government policy, which permits the supply of duty-free supply of local and also in addition imported resources required for the manufacture of export merchandise. That is, they will get the supply of local resources without paying any duty. Fifth one is export processing zone. They are industrial domains actually. These are located very close to seaports and or air terminals. So these export processing zones are made. This measure or this scheme is made by the government to boost exports to different countries. Sixth one is export promotion capital goods scheme. This scheme encourages the import of capital goods for export manufacturing. Seventh measure is scheme of recognizing trading houses and superstar trading houses based on past performance in exports. So it is very clear from the statement that it will recognize the trading houses and other superstar trading houses based on the past export of these institutions, and it will give special concessions. And eighth one is export of services. Here, based on performance, they are categorized as service export house, international service export house, and international star service export house. So all the export of services will be given special preference. Ninth one is export finance. Pre-shipment finance and post-shipment finance are provided for the exporters. So there are 9 measures and schemes introduced by the Government of India to promote foreign trade. Once again, I will list the points. First scheme is called duty drawback scheme. Second one, export manufacturing under the bond scheme. Third one, exemption from payment of GST. Fourth, advance license scheme. Fifth one, export processing zones. Sixth one, export promotion capital goods scheme. Seventh one, scheme of recognizing trading houses. Eighth one, export of services. And last one, export finance. So all these measures together can be a very good support for the exporters in India. Then the second, I already told you, the government of India is promoting foreign trade through in two ways. One is measures and scheme, which I have listed now. There are 9 measures and schemes, and the second one is organizational setup. Now let us go to the second category, organizational setup. The government has set up from time to time various institutions in order to facilitate the progress of foreign trade. Let us see what are the important institutions promoting foreign trade in India. The first one is Department of Commerce. Department of Commerce in the Ministry of Commerce. Government of India is the authoritative body responsible for the country's international trade. The Department of Commerce formulates policies in the sphere of foreign trade. The second institution is Export Promotion Council. The fundamental objective of the Export Promotion Councils is to promote the nation's export to particular products falling under their jurisdiction. So the products falling under their jurisdiction will be promoted. Currently there are 21 export processing zone councils. There are 21 export processing councils dealing with the different commodities. Third, commodity boards. They are supplementary to export processing councils. Actually, there are 7 commodity boards in India. That is for tobacco. That is tobacco board, spices board, central silk board, tea board, coir board, etc. Next organization setup is Export Inspection Council. The council aims at the sound development of export trade through quality control and pre-shipment inspection. So now I told 4 organizations promoting foreign trade in India. First one is Department of Commerce, second one is Export Promotion Council, third one Commodity Boards, fourth one Export Inspection Council. The fifth one is India Trade Promotion Organization. It is situated at Delhi. So it is an organization established under the Companies Act. Its head office at Delhi. The main objective is to support export organizations engaged in international trade fairs and exhibitions. The next one is Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Its main objective is the professionalization of foreign trade management in India. The next one is State Trading Organizations. We all are familiar with the state trading organizations. It is intended to promote trade, primarily export trade among different trading partners of the globe. Eighth one is Indian Institute of Packaging. Indian Institute of Packaging. It is a training cum research institute pertaining to packaging and testing. Next one is Director General of Anti-Dumping. We know dumping means price discrimination at the international level, that is selling the product at high prices in the domestic market and at low prices in the foreign market. So the manufacturer, actually the monopoly producers, are doing dumping activities. According to the price elasticity of demand, they will change the prices in markets. If the elasticity of demand is very high, they will reduce the price. If the products have inelastic demand, they will increase the price. So it is the price discrimination at the international level. Then 10th one is Agricultural and Processed Foods Exports Development Authority. It is a promotional agency and it does not undertake any direct export actually. Then last one is the other organization. The other organizations recently established is Indian Diamond Institute, Federation of Indian Exports Organizations, etc. So any other schemes or any other organizations, if the government has set up recently, you can add with these points to score maximum marks. So once again, I will go through the organization well set up. The first one is Department of Commerce, second one Export Promotion Council, third one Commodity Boards, fourth one Export Inspection Council, fifth one India Trade Promotion Council, India Trade Promotion Organization, sixth one Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, seventh one State Trading Organization, eighth one Indian Institute of Packaging, ninth one Director General of Anti-Dumping and Allied Affairs, 10th one Agricultural and Processed Foods Export Development Authority, and finally other organizations. So I hope all of you are familiar with this two type essay questions and one short question. If there is any clarity problem or if you want any more explanation regarding these points, please let me know that. Thank you. Thank you very much.